Hi, I'm Ella.
And I'm Mackenzie, and you're watching the Londoners News.
Today we'll be speaking to a wide range of journalists covering events, culture and sport across our city of London.
We're so excited to share what our journalists have been up to in the capital.
I went to Kew Gardens to indulge in their Sounds of Blossom festival.
Evie experienced the spiritual world of pranic healing.
Tia visited the Independent Genesis Cinema for a thrilling evening out.
Sara explored and educated at Houseman's Radical Bookshop.
Rashad got sporty at the Alpine Run project, introducing young people from inner city to trail running in the mountains.
And I raised awareness for the mental health of our tradespeople. Now we go over to Kew with Ella for an immersive day out.
Spring has arrived here at Kew Gardens, and this year visitors are in for a truly unique experience. The Sounds of Blossom Festival combines music and nature in a way never seen or heard before. I'm here to explore this one-of-a-kind festival and to speak with Programs Manager here at Kew, Kate Selecki, to figure out how music and nature fit together in perfect harmony. So, this festival is about blending music with nature. Can you tell us about the collaboration with the Royal College of Music and how the composition is created?
Yeah, well, thank you. The collaboration with the Royal College of Music is fantastic. So we work with their composition department. So these are students this year, they're in their fourth year, so the final year of their composition degree. And they all get to come on site and see all the different locations of all the different blossom trees. We show them pictures from last year because, of course, when they start composing, the blossom isn't actually out yet. So we show them pictures of what it will look like. And then they take inspiration from that, some of the history of the different plants and the different trees. Some are based on colour, some are based on sound. Some have used some of their past experience. For example, one of the students travelled to Japan and they've used that sort of memory from Japan on their piece that they've made for us here.
Okay, great. And for visitors coming to experience this, what should they be looking out for?
So I think the number one thing for Sounds of Blossom, and the reason that we've done this program, is that we at Kew know that spring is the best time to come to Kew Gardens. So what we really are hoping that people will experience is a moment to stop and pause at each of these different locations that we know are some of the best places to spot spring blossom. So we want people to really take a moment, look at all the different colours. We've got everything from, white to cream to pink to yellow, and it's just really beautiful. So I hope people just take a moment, enjoy the spring sunshine, and listen to some beautiful sounds as they're walking through.
And where in the gardens are there specific places where they can hear this music?
So we've got 7 different locations that are on most of the day. So we start from 11 and we run till the gardens close. 7 different locations are all across the garden, so you can go anywhere you're planning on going in the garden on any given day. You're going to find one of these locations. You've got maps everywhere for people to have a look so they can make sure they don't miss any.
And beyond the music, there are so many springtime highlights here at Kew. What are some of the must-see locations during the festival?
Gosh, well, we've highlighted a lot of the must-see locations already with the Sounds of Blossom program, but I'm looking right now at some daffodils that are off screen. Daffodils everywhere. One of my favourite spots is this glorious sort of field of little blue flowers that's called Glory of the Snow. What a beautiful name. That's just near to our Orangery and also Kew Palace. So again, it's a really good spot. It only lasts for about a week or two. It's a really wonderful spring thing to see.
Okay, brilliant. What's a personal highlight for you? Is it the blue blossoms?
Oh yeah, so the Glory of the Snow is really beautiful, but I think for me it's the Magnolia Grove. So this is where you see 6 or 7 different types of magnolia trees. Magnolia trees are super interesting because they are really ancient trees, and you can sort of tell that when you look at them. They're sort of these giants from the past. And you've got big ones, you've got little ones, you've got pink, yellow, like I said, all these different colors. And you can really wander through and just kind of get lost and, imagine yourself either living right now or millions of years ago, because that's how old those trees are.
And for the music collaboration, did you have any input in how it got curated? What was that process like?
So we tend to just give all of the creative control over to the students, which is really fun because we obviously have our own vision of what we think the gardens might sound like, but that's what's so fun, is getting the composers, who often are relatively new to the site, to experience it their own way and to come up with their own sort of soundscape and what they think it sounds like. So that's really nice to get their feedback on what they like about the gardens.
And how is this different from last year?
So I'd say, so this year we have, I think, a very different sort of style of music. So one of the changes we made to the brief this year for the students is we wanted people to really focus on that nature element. So instead of the music just existing separately to the sounds of nature, we wanted the music to really combine with nature. So you'll notice there's lots of pauses in the composition, so you can listen to maybe bird song or the rustle of the wind, so it doesn't feel overwhelming, it just feels like a really nice addition to your day.
What's one thing you want visitors to take away from this experience?
I think it is to stop and smell the blossom. Basically, I want people to look out for blossom in their own lives, look out for it in the gardens, and make sure they just take a moment and pause and reflect and celebrate spring. We all know it's always a very long winter, so it's so nice when we finally get the sun out. An amazing place to do that is here at Kew Gardens, where we've got so much of this amazing blossom coming up all over.
Thank you, Kate. That
Thank
was
you.
so lovely. I look forward to experiencing the festival, hopefully when the sun decides to come out a bit and the blossoms fully
Keep
emerge.
blossoming.
Keep blossoming. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Your video was so lovely, Ella, and what was it like filming at Kew?
So when I went there, it was actually my first time visiting Kew Gardens. Like, surprisingly, I can't believe I haven't been there before. It was such a lovely day out. I got to spend the whole day at the gardens. The staff invited me to spend the day there, so I got to really immerse myself in nature, and it was such a captivating experience, especially going during the Sounds of Blossom festival. It made it such a special time to go. I didn't just experience the gardens as the gardens, I experienced the fullness of spring, really. I went in mid-March, and it highlighted spring in the best way possible. You know, it was so it was really sensational. I felt like I was serenaded the whole time by this music as I was wandering around. It was really beautiful. Yeah.
It looked amazing. How did the music work with the surroundings? Like, could you steer hill like the bird song?
Yeah, so as you wander through the gardens, you don't have to follow the little route they've planned out, but if you want to, you can. They've got these really discreet small green music boxes on the floor that are playing these different compositions as you're walking around. So you could stop by and stand near them and just, as she said, stand still, really take in the nature, take in the bird songs, the sounds of wind. It was really pretty to hear. But as you are walking, the music boxes are just situated all along the walkway, so it goes from one composition to another, and it really immerses you in.
Nice. Beyond the music, what else did visitors get to experience during the festival?
Yeah, so other than experiencing this one-of-a-kind experience, there are also a lot of horticultural highlights that were there. So they got to experience the daffodils, the tulips. They'd all started to bloom as well, which were really beautiful. The cherry blossom as well started to come out. It was really pretty. Lots of tulips too, along by Temperate House. There was a snippet of it in the video. Such beautiful colours. And then the Royal College of Music do live weekend recitals at Kew. So they're held outdoors in between Temperate and Palm House. It's highlighted on the map when you go there. They do these weekend recitals, and it's not the students who made the compositions, but other Royal College of Music students. So they get to have this really cool
really
experience
nice.
as well. And they also have a blossom-inspired afternoon tea at their botanical brasserie, which includes scones with strawberry and lemon, lavender and chocolate macaroons, and a honey blossom eclair.
Sounds like a dangerous little trip.
It does sound really pretty, yeah.
I saw on TikTok this little thing about the music boxes, and I didn't really understand, so I thought I'd ask you more about the approach they've taken with their music boxes this year.
Yeah, so they decided to have them pause every now and again, every so often, to let people enjoy the sounds of nature as well. And so they didn't do this last year. So it comes across quite strange because you can be listening to the music and then suddenly it just pauses, and it really made me think, where's the music gone? And if Kate hadn't told me what it was for, I wouldn't have known. So it kind of distracted me a bit. I wanted to keep listening to the music. It was really nice to hear it, but I think it may have worked for some people, but for me, I just wanted to keep listening to the
Yeah, I
to
suppose
beautiful
if you're
composition.
going there for the festival, then you wouldn't really expect it to stop.
Yeah.
Each to their own. Have you spoken to any of the composers who contributed to the festival, and did you find out anything about their process?
Yeah, so I spoke to one of the composers, Molly Arnock, who created a piece called Windcasting, and this is played along the Broadwalk Magnolias, so that beautiful like Magnolia Grove I was in, it plays there. I reached out to her and she said, for my piece, I laid recordings of myself playing viola, manipulated to sounds such as wind chimes, as I wanted to share the sounds that I associate with peace and relaxation in nature. Writing for Kew has been such a great opportunity to experience a professional commission. Following their brief and coordinating with administrators and sound designers has been such a valuable preparation to enter the industry. So Royal College of Music and Kew really gave her a great opportunity.
It sounds like it, and her music also sounds so lovely.
Yeah.
Peaceful. Well, thank you for that interview, Ella. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Next, our reporter Evie zenned out learning about one of the UK's most loved energy healing practices, pranic healing. Evie spoke to the founder and director of the Institute of Pranic Healing, UK and Ireland, Les Flitcroft, and patient Lily Smythe.
My name is Les Flitcroft. I'm the director of the Institute of Inner Studies, UK and Ireland. So pranic healing is a non-touch healing system that works on the approach that we have an energy body, or an energy system, or an energy pattern that is the blueprint for the physical body. Within that energetic pattern we have what's called chakras, or energy centres. These energy centres draw in different frequencies of energy from our surroundings, from the ground, from the air, from the sun. A chemical reaction takes place, then the body then feeds from that energy. So any part of this energetic anatomy that breaks down, the chemical imbalance will begin to happen, and over a period of time then a condition or a disease can then follow. So pranic healing is based on the principle that every disease or condition, whether it's physical or psychological, has an energy pattern. You follow the energy pattern and reverse the energy pattern. The chemical reactions then stabilise, then the body will start to heal itself. As regards to psychotherapy or pranic psychotherapy, by removing the thoughts and emotions from the mind, then people will then come away from their stress, their strains, phobias, fears, traumas, whatever it may be. It's very successful in what it does. How I got into pranic healing was many years ago, over 20 years ago. I had a serious accident that rendered myself breaking my arms, but my left arm was completely paralysed. I severed the nerve through the accident. They managed to save my arm through 5 operations, but they said unfortunately I'd never get my arm back. So a friend of mine was doing this abroad, not in this country. It wasn't actually in this country. Then I met the master that created it all and brought this into the public eye. He gave me a protocol to do or to use. I used it then, and within 6 months I got my arm back to full working use, and that's basically started my process down the line of doing pranic healing. So who would benefit is basically any single person needs healing or help, whether it's physical or psychological. Everyone can benefit from pranic healing itself. As I say, we've broken all boundaries with this and used it even in the medical profession now, so that there are even some doctors through the physical aspect and Western medicine, also psychiatry. They've also been using this. I've taught many doctors, many psychologists, psychiatrists as well. So if a person comes for me for a treatment, first of all, if they've got a diagnosis from the doctors or the medical profession, then we will then tailor that treatment according to the medical diagnosis. If there's no medical diagnosis from the doctor or a psychologist in psychological disorders, but the patient has pain or problems in the body, then by systematically feeling or what's called scanning, you're able to detect energy around the body. You find out what the pattern or the problem is through the pattern. you normalise the pattern and the person gets better. Over the last 3.5 years, I've been working in King's College Hospital to do medical research on pranic healing. The first, we done 3 pilot studies first of all to quantify that it worked basically. And then they said to me if I was willing to do a large study, which become a full clinical trial, was involving 107 patients in the end. The entry point for the patient to start was pain, then associated disease and psychological disorders. And by the end of the clinical trial, after 107 patients have gone through, over 3 months of treatment per child, I had 100% response, and it was 85% full clinical response in all 3 areas. There's definitely a future. We've also approached the NHS already. There's many skeptics, there's many people that I've met over the years, and I've been doing this over 25 years. You meet everybody, but everyone, the nice thing about this is nobody has to believe whether it works or it doesn't. And this is why it's not a belief system or a religion or anything like that. It is a science.
I heard about pranic healing through my mum, who went on a pranic healing course. Due to my sister being autistic, she wanted to really help her in her anxiety and her mental health. And also through a family friend, my mum knew about pranic healing through her. Well, I was initially pranic healed for eczema and stress throughout exams and GCSE season, and then I went on to being healed for daily maintenance and just general well-being. But I felt like so much clearer headed, like I was able to think straight, I was able to like feel really more relaxed within my thoughts and how I was feeling, and I really enjoyed the pranic healing experience.
Evie joins us in the studio now. It's lovely seeing you. And you too, Mackenzie. I've decided to join you here now. So Evie, can you tell me why alternative therapies is so popular and growing across the UK and Ireland?
Yeah, so as we all know, NH waitlists are so long these days, and I think that really contributes to people trying alternative therapies. It's much more accessible and something you can easily go to and attend. I also think people are a lot more accepting nowadays. It's seen as more of a norm to do these alternative therapies, opposed to maybe 10 to 15 years ago when people would have thought it was hippie or there would have been a lot more skeptics. I also think people are really veering away from wanting to go on long-term medications. It's all about finding a holistic, natural route and treating it with that.
Why do you think people are more accepting these days compared to, say, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, so honestly I think this is all down to education now and seeing the science behind it. As Les said in his videos, he's done lots of medical studies at King's College Hospital London, and they have straight facts, straight evidence, and their success rates are absolutely amazing. And so I think this is really contributing towards people becoming more accepting. I also think, as Les mentioned, he's trained doctors, and the potential for pranic healing to become something that the NHS offers. I think this really validifies it as a form of medicine, and people can see that and they're more accepting.
And yeah, it does. And Les sounds so amazing as well, and he's done such outstanding work across the country. He sounds just really inspiring as a person.
Yeah, so Les was truly inspiring to sit down and talk to. In the field of pranic healing, Les is seen as somewhat as a god. He is truly the expert of all experts, and so I felt really fortunate to be able to interview him. I managed to even talk to Les off camera because I was so intrigued about pranic healing and his career. And he told me that in over 25 years, he has taught in excess of 10,000 pranic healers across the country. And in his clinic, he has healed somewhere around 20,000 people. And I think those numbers really speak for themselves. Les also talked to me about Master Co, who taught him how to pranic heal, and then Les brought pranic healing to the UK from these teachings. Master Co began teaching in 1988, and so I think this really shows that pranic healing isn't just a fad, it's something that's going to be here to stay.
I'd love to attend a seminar or a class learning how to become a healer myself. I wondered if you knew.
Yeah,
how that
so
happens.
the Institute of Pranic Healing runs lots of seminars. These include healing clinics, meditation classes, and personal development seminars. These are all run on a donation basis, so all the money is donated to a charity. This charity is MCKS Charitable Foundation UK, which is a non-profit organisation that Master Stephen Coe set up, who is the founder of Pranic Healing. And so I think this is really special because Pranic Healing obviously is helping people, and then people who are attending these seminars is then helping others by these donations. In regards to learning to be a healer, you can attend classes. These unfortunately aren't on a donation basis, so they are set priced. These are run all across the country and they are easily able to attend. They're very regular. You can start from level 1 and they range all the way up to level 4. In level 3, you can even learn to heal with a crystal, which I think is so cool. This crystal kind of amplifies the healing, making it deeper and stronger and much more effective.
Okay, and for this training scheme, how long will it take to become a pranic healer?
Yeah, so this is completely varied from individual to individual. Like I said, these courses are a set price and they tend to be on the pricier side of things. So lots of people do tend to space these courses out just for the issue of money. They are regularly put on, as I said, so totally accessible for people to do. Some people even say when they're healing or being healed that they can feel the energy, which I think is so cool. Some people say it feels like itching, or it feels like heat in their body, or tingling. So I feel like when you can feel something, you then believe it, right? Like it becomes real. So I think that's super interesting. You can also, once you've completed the courses, set up your own clinic and do pranic healing as your career. And so in a sense, you could be earning your money back from these pricier courses.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Evie. That was so interesting. Should we go? Should we get healed?
I want to go. Les sounds so amazing. You make him sound like such a
I
god.
want to know if it does,
Aw.
like, you feel it. Like, I don't know
Literally,
about
I
that. Let's find out.
Okay. Next up, joining us on the sofa is Tia. She went down to Genesis Cinema to unwind by finding out about their events and exploring the cinema's history.
It was a derelict site, and that's when I bought it as a derelict site, and we converted it into the 5-screen Genesis Cinema that we have now. Well, I was a roofer before that. We had family had a roofing company in Bow in East London. I'm obviously East London born and bred, as you can tell. And when I bought it, we bought it because the roofing business was quite difficult at the time. So we bought it, and then we did I brought my dad in because we had a massive hole in the roof. It was a derelict cinema, it's a terrible state, massive hole in the roof. And I brought my dad in to say, look, we've got to fix the hole in the roof because we were roofers. And we went into Screen One, and he said, oh, that's where me and your mum used to sit. So I said, what? And he said, yeah, me and your mum used to sit there. We used to still courting here in the 60s. That's why I'm Tyrone after Tyrone Power and brother Spencer after Spencer Tracy. And we end up becoming now 2 old 30s film stars. We end up back in the cinema where my mum and dad did their courting. And we opened up in 1999. Barbara Windsor opened the doors for us. So we're going to be 26 years old this year. So when I opened the cinema, I wanted to make sure that we had an event space. My family will like a drink, so we thought to ourselves, well, at least we have one good party before we open. We weren't sure how it was going to go, so we put this bar in that we're sitting in now. This was all small rooms, but we wanted to open it up, put a little stage in, even though it's only a small stage, but I wanted to get stage in, so to hark back to the theatre days as well, to see what we could do. So the first really popular event we did, I think, was probably poetry slams that we started off in Genesis, and they went really, really well. So, and they're still going now. We're still doing poetry slams now. So we get 10 poets usually who come in. They all do their stuff. We alter the space, so we have pop-up chairs. You have about 100 people in here. And we give a certain number of them scoring cards, like Strictly, so they all hold up their scoring cards, and you go from 10 poets down to eventually a head-to-head, and then the one who wins then eventually goes into the Poetry Slam final at the end of the year, and then they're crowned the Poetry Slam king or queen, depending on who wins. They go really well. We also do a swing dance lesson up here, so then we clear all of the furniture out, and we have an hour where a company comes in and they teach people how to swing dance for an hour, which is always hilarious. I've tried it myself, and it's really good fun, but you feel like a real idiot when you do it. And then the second hour, all the professional dancers come in, join the amateurs, and then we have another hour long of swing dancing. That's a really good event. That's been going for a long time. Yeah, the company Let's Swing, they do that for us. We do comedy nights. Randomly, a Lithuanian comedy night is one of our most popular, where we do comedy here, and we do a comedy screen in Screen 1. We work with Bulgarian film festivals. We do, most recently we're doing the Filipino film festivals. There's a particular one we do called Bar Trash, where a great guy comes in. The guy who runs it, he calls himself Token Homo. He does the Bar Trash event. So this screen comes down and we'll show a really obscure movie, usually terribly made and really cheesy, and horror stuff that's got really bad special effects and stuff like that. He kind of rips it apart as he goes, and then and all the crowd have their bit of fun with it as well. Yeah, I do. I think independent cinemas, even though they weren't really a thing, I think they've become the place to go. I think people who really love film and like to see films that are not just the massive Hollywood blockbusters, which I like everything. They do seek out independent cinemas. I think independent businesses, we're family run as well. I think especially family run businesses do care for their customer, and I think that does come down. I think people, you don't want to be just herded in, take all your money, herded out. We want people to come in, spend 4-6 hours here, have a coffee, have a cocktail, chat to people about the film, enjoy themselves in the film. So, still spending money, but at least they're getting value for money, and they're taking a bit more time to spend it. So, yeah, that's I think that's what independent businesses and independent cinemas in particular give people. We work very hard at our programme. We're curating it all the time. We haven't got the luxury of 12 screens, so we can't just put everything on. So we have to really think about what we're doing, as other indies do as well. And also we don't have any shareholders to talk to. If we see the business pivoting in a certain way, we can react really, really quickly. So we can deliver a much better experience. We want you to have a really lovely time, and so we really, really do come into business at the end of the day. But indies are normally in the business because they love the industry, and they want their customers to have a good time, spend some money, but just basically have fun. I once heard the cinema described as an acre of seats in a garden of dreams, and that's kind of what indies want to be.
So great to have you here, Tio. Your evening looks spectacular.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, how was your experience at the cinema, and would you recommend us going?
I had a really nice experience at Genesis Cinema. It's such a lovely environment to be in. There is a lot of things to do and a lot of things to see. As far as the cinema goes itself, it's very comfortable, and they have definitely an open drinking policy where you can just chill and everything. I would definitely recommend going as a customer. The prices themselves, the tickets are quite cheap, drinks aren't that expensive, and overall it's just really nice to be there.
Oh, it sounds really lovely. And did you attend any of the events, and how were they?
So I attended an event called Bar Trash, which he mentions in the video. Like he says, it's quite interesting and quite a unique cinema experience. The guy, he's called Richard, he calls himself Token Homo. He's quite the comedian, and he basically stands on the stage and he shows this trashy film. I saw Duel of the Titans, which was about macho men just kind of fighting over land, and yeah, all sorts of things are going on, and fighting over women. And the atmosphere itself was quite nice. You have people in a very relaxed setting, just drinking, having fun, laughing at the film. And at the end they give you these cards to fill out that he puts on his socials, just about whether or not you thought it was trash or not. Yeah, it was really nice.
That sounds quite funny, to be honest. What other upcoming events are there?
So there are a lot of events that they do. Bar Trash is on a reoccurring event every Wednesday. They also have a lot of screenings going on. So one currently coming up is Rye Lane, which is a one house night. It's this sort of other people that come in, and it's catered for people in their 20s and 30s to kind of like come together and chill and like talk about the experience, but as it's part of their mental health awareness month. And they have a lot of similar screenings like that where they just want the community to come together. So they also have Midsummer coming up as part of like a fashion film festival, and you should always be looking out for the next poetry slam or dancing event. They seem really fun.
And when you went there, did it feel like an independent cinema?
It definitely did. You can tell by the space. It's very curated for the customer. Like you said in the video, they don't have any shareholders to sort of answer to. So they have a lot of, they have like a bar there, and they have a kitchen. They have loads of social spaces where you can just sit and hang out. It definitely feels like a third space that London seems to be lacking a lot, where, you know, people can just come and chill and hang out. So it's definitely that as well as the cinema, and that's definitely what gives it its independent vibe.
Sounds really nice there. What drew you to Genesis Cinema?
I always really liked the cinema from when I was younger. It's close to where I live, and again, just the fact that it's independent and very much curated for the customer. Like, one of the events that drew me in was a Twin Peaks screening, which is sort of like a film buffing, like for David Lynch. And yeah, they definitely just want to bring the community together, and you can see that again through their events, and it's definitely for film lovers. And as well as showing like new films, they show some old ones, and overall it's just very fun, and everything they do there is really nice. And again, cheap prices is always nice.
Cherry on top.
Thank you for that, Tia. I might have to go down there myself. It seems like such a nice third space to hang out, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely something like the BFI or things like that, but it's definitely something that's lacking.
Definitely, yeah.
Next, come along with Sara to Houseman's Radical Bookshop, where you can really challenge your thinking.
After World War II, writer and playwright Lawrence Houseman proposed establishing a permanent bookshop to promote peace, human rights and economic equity. Houseman's is one of the few remaining alternative bookshops in Britain and continues its commitment to radical campaigning. Today, I'm here to introduce you to the store. My name is Sara Mecibah, and I am reporting for the Londoners.
Houseman's has definitely always been kind of a hub for radical politics.
You could find here very interesting books.
It's a beautiful shop.
I interviewed Fiona, the store manager, Mehmet, a long-time customer, and Tom, a new customer. This shop has books on radical politics, peace, feminism, LGBTQ rights and other social justice issues, all in line with Houseman's version of using books to inspire change.
My name's Kate, and I've been working at Houseman's for about a year and a half. It was originally in 1946, then we moved here in the 50s to this location. The original purpose of the shop was to raise money to support Peace News, which was a pacifist newspaper that started publishing just after the war and ran up until just last year. So yeah, that was the original mission of the shop, was to sell books and stationery and that sort of stuff to fund Peace News. But then through the kind of 70s and the 80s, it evolved to a broader remit, and this building was also home to a lot of kind of peace organizations, queer organizations, other kind of progressive groups. And so that relationship kind of expanded the shop to be more broadly radical politics instead of just focusing on pacifism. And yeah, we continue to kind of have that broader radical mission to this day. One of the kind of most interesting to me groups that have had their homes here at 5 Caledonian Road is the Gay Liberation Front and Switchboard. Switchboard still is actually, a helpline for LGBT people that started in the 70s, and it was just this place for people to find information about queer life in London and also seek advice, especially during the AIDS crisis. It was a real kind of lifeline and support network for gay people. And then another one of the quite interesting campaigns was the McLibel campaign, where McDonald's sued groups of activists for the kind of statements they'd made against them. It was, I think, like the longest running lawsuit of that type in British history, and their campaign offices were upstairs, and some of the people involved in the campaign were also tied to the shop in the building. But within kind of London more broadly, Housemans has definitely always been kind of a hub for radical politics. We have lots of different political and activist groups that meet here. We have reading groups for all sorts of different demographics. We have a lot of queer reading groups. We have a lot of kind of socialist and radical groups who meet here. So I think being that physical space to engage in radical politics is quite important. And then historically as well, it's been a place for instance, young queer people arriving in London knew this was maybe a place that they could go to meet other queer people back in the 70s and the 80s. And I think we still have an element of that. And then also locally, we do host a lot of events around political and local issues. We stock a lot of local authors, and we definitely try to kind of be a present part of the community here in King's Cross. I think it's so important right now. I think we've seen kind of an uptick in interest in certain topics like anti-fascism, immigration, things like that are so relevant right now in the US, trans issues as well. So I think people often have a lot of this frustration about the dire political state of the world, the US being a great unfortunate symbol of that right now. And so I think being able to come to a space full of like-minded people, if there's issues that you're wanting to learn about, our staff and other people around the shop often have books we can recommend to kind of help you engage with that. So I think just being a space to meet people who share your frustrations is really good, because you can sometimes feel a bit insane looking at the state of the world and how much seems to be going so wrong. So yeah, just providing that space is really important, I think. A book that I really like right now is called Post-Growth Living for an Alternative Hedonism by Kate Soper. It is a book about degrowth economics, which might sound a bit dense, but it's basically the idea that we all have to consume less and focus less on economic growth to live more, to have a more sustainable future, but the idea that that can actually make the quality of our lives a lot better instead of feeling like we have to give things up, which I think is super key to a lot of kind of environmental struggles and other related things.
My name is Melville. I've been coming here since, almost maybe 2 decades. You could find here very interesting books, out of print or specialized subject. In the age of all these online sales, I think having these sort of shops is important, at least. Now there's none of them left, almost, really. This is a selection of writings from South Africa, because just to see, when I saw the topics, nothing has changed so far in the world politics. So would I buy this book? Maybe.
I'm Tom. I found it a couple of months ago just walking past and thought it looked intriguing, but didn't have time to actually come in. It's a lot of interesting kind of alternative books that you wouldn't find in Waterstones. I think alternative perspectives, just variety of perspectives, is really important to sort of expand our thinking and help us to understand each other as human beings.
That was such an insightful video, Sara. It's so easy for spaces like that to get lost in the city. Do you know if Mehmet bought the book?
I'm assuming he did. I mean, he was really into the book. I think it'd be a shame if he didn't buy it. Yeah.
Hope so.
Hope so.
Maybe he came back for it next week.
Maybe.
Or maybe he just bought it when I wasn't looking.
Maybe.
Cheeky.
And what does make Housemans different from a regular bookshop?
I mean, we've already established it's like a left-wing radical bookshop, but I think there's two main things that make it different. They don't just sell political books from authors in London. It ranges across the world, from the USA, Europe, here in London, Africa, and it's very wide range. And the other thing is, it was established in 1945 after World War II, as I mentioned in my video, but I think it's important because this was after Hitler was defeated. And obviously it was trying to provoke more new thoughts and make the world more comfortable, which it's already doing. And yeah.
Sounds like a super interesting shop. Does Housemans support local writers and authors?
Yes, they do, specifically ones that are not backed by large publishers. So what they do is, when you just walk into the shop, you go on the right hand side, just literally at the very front of the shop, you have all these like leaflets and books from authors that like are not popular, and I think they do this because obviously when you first like walk into the shop, you're gonna see it, you're gonna be intrigued, you're gonna think, wow, like who is this author? The pages are very like colourful, very insightful. It's gonna make it more interesting, and this is one of the ways they support these local publishers.
Okay, and how does the shop reflect the history of radical politics, specifically in London?
It acts as a hub for marginalised groups. So what they do is they hold these events. You can check online on their website when they do these events. And what they do is they open discussions about certain like political issues like anyone may be having. One that's coming up on May 21st is about a book, and it's called Mother Doom. It's about motherhood. It's by Alex Bullen. And they just discuss what it means to be a mum right now, what it like means for women to be what means for women to be mothers in this day and age. And it's £3.50 entry fee. What you do is you go to Houseman's website, you just search up Houseman Bookshop website, you click on the events link, it will show you it and you can pay on there. And yeah, it just keeps discussions open. It's not just about buying the books, it's about talking about it, expressing it from different points of views and stuff like that.
That sounds so interesting. So apart from buying tickets on their website digitally, what other ways can people get involved with Houseman's?
So this kind of goes back to the event. So if you can't make an event for whatever reason, what they do on their YouTube is they stream it. So it's live at first, and then obviously after it's just like published as a video. So you can either watch it from home live or watch it after. If you go to their Instagram and TikTok specifically, they update you about the event. So if you can't access their website, this is a great way to do it. They talk about like favourite books of the week, stuff like that, recommendations and all of that. So yeah, that's a way that you can get involved.
Okay, great. And out of all of the shops you could have similarly picked, what drew you to Houseman's to focus your video on?
I just think it's because it's like very, very, very local to most Londoners. It's in the heart of King's Cross. It's easy to get there. You know, it's a very small, yellow, colourful shop. Anyone walking past it, I personally believe you're going to be intrigued. You're going to think, wow, what is this small shop? And then obviously from that you go in, you see all the colourful leaflets, you know, even at the front. They don't really take donations, but as a way of supporting like current events like what's going on in Gaza, they have the pins and books all selected for Gaza, you know, different sections of everything. I just think out of all the shops, it's the most impactful one.
Thank you so much for that interview, Sara. I feel like we've learned so much.
Yeah,
It sounds
definitely.
super interesting around that. Moving on, we're going to be speaking to Rashad, who joined the Alpine Run project for a day of hard work and training.
My name's Jasper Kane. I'm the CEO of Youth Beyond Borders, which was set up to support 16 to 25-year-olds with a particular focus on supporting young people to take their next step. One of our main programs that we run at Youth Beyond Borders is called the Alpine Run Project, which is about engaging 16 to 22-year-olds who are growing up in inner cities and getting them to experience the benefits of nature through the sport of trail running. We came up with the idea of the Alpine Run Project, which would take young people from the inner city out to the mountain peaks. So there'll be a 6-month training program where they learn some of the basic fundamentals of trail running, which might include a running plan, which might include how you can kind of improve your kind of athlete mindset, which also includes free transportation to be able to access green spaces. We devised a program that would enable these young people from all across the UK to be able to go, first and foremost, to green spaces near where they live. So if you're in London, you might go out to the Surrey Hills. If you're in the Midlands, you might go to the Peak District. If you're in Manchester, you might go to the Lake District. But also a select group who've really kind of committed to the programme will get the opportunity to go and compete in the world's most iconic trail running race in Mont Blanc called the UTMB. Not only would it support them as individuals, but also trail running as a sport is still very much the domain of kind of the white middle classes. And we felt as though there was a real opportunity to make the sport more diverse and make it more accessible for a younger generation of people who are growing up in cities. At Alpine Run Project, we purposefully design the program and cater for people of all different running abilities and experience levels. The trail experiences that we design on a monthly basis take place in green spaces that are owned by the National Trust, which is the largest landowner in the UK, but spaces that are very much on the periphery and close to cities, but lots of young people don't know exist, and often they feel those spaces are inaccessible. So the way that we design it is we try and make running fun, we try and make it a collective experience, and overcoming this sense of running being this boring, individualistic, singular experience. So the experiences are designed with always a team building activity, which is a game with a nice healthy element of competition at the beginning. What happens is people end up being very focused on the game and trying to capture, for instance, these and find these flags, but they actually run at the same time. Whereas if we started the sessions and we said, you just have to go and run now for 5k, for some people they'd be like, wow, I'm not capable of doing that. It would immediately become a barrier. Whereas with this, they've already run for 3 kilometers without even realizing that they're running, because they're so focused on helping their teammates and trying to complete the game of capturing and finding these flags. And they had to problem solve at the same time, which we think is a really important skill. So you're developing collaboration, you're also developing problem solving, as well as running. The younger generation are the most isolated generation. They are the loneliest generation than ever before, and yet they're yearning for connection, community, and a sense of belonging. And I think running is one of those activities that's filling that void. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of running is that it doesn't cost any money, and it's really easy to do. There's lots of benefits to running, wherever you do it, and it's been great to see the rise of road running. You'd have seen record numbers of applications for the London Marathon, but I do think there's something particularly powerful about the trails and getting out into nature, because I think we live in an age where over half the world's population now live in cities, and cities are incredibly busy and they're very stimulating places. And I think there's something that's like deeply calming and grounding about getting out into nature and kind of unplugging from the digital world as we know it. It's really easy to get involved with Youth Beyond Borders and Alpine Run Project. All you need to do is go to our Instagram pages and you'll find a link in the bio, and you can sign up to join our network. Alternatively, every month we have an Alpine Run Project trail experience which gets announced at the beginning of each month on our Instagram, and so just have a look and turn up for the next one.
You can really see from that video just how hard those kids worked. What was it like being on the ground with the young people taking part, and did any moments really stick with you?
Yeah, it was difficult because I was trying to film, I was trying to take part, I was trying to run. It's a lot of physical work, but it's really inspiring to see a lot of people come together for something different that they might not have done before. There's people from all over London. I think some people came from Kent, Essex, to this little park, it's not a little park, to this park in South London. And it was really cool to just see the power of community through running.
Tell us more about the physical side of it. Was it a challenge? What was the training like?
It was difficult. As you can see, it was a hot day. At the start, we had like a little treasure hunt. And like he explained, we ended up running like 3k, 4k without even realising it, because we're trying to find these flags all over the park. And it was such a nice way to kind of ease into it. Later, we had like a little 5k run where there was different groups suited to different abilities. So because it's really open to beginner levels, all the way to the kind of highest levels who run for fun, it was easier that way because you're able to give yourself the level that you think you're at instead of feeling pressure to run at a certain pace. But I think it was a really nice entry level kind of introduction to running.
And why do you think opportunities like this are so important for young children or young people in London and other cities?
Like just to explain, I think the younger generations are maybe finding it more difficult to be as social, because we know problems with technology and kind of being stuck in our houses. So to be able to just be one with nature and get out there and just do something as simple as running around in nature, I think it's really good for that to be introduced to the next generations. Otherwise it can be something that is lost. And we all know, we see every year, especially people my age, someone's now running a marathon. I think it's something that people are really becoming. I think it's like the next thing, like since lockdown, we're all stuck in our homes, we just want to be outside now. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of staying inside for too long anymore. So I think it's a really healthy way to just have fun.
Super important to touch grass. How important is it that brands like Nike and Strava are involved with community projects like these?
Yeah, of course, because these brands are profiting from, the kind of expansion of running. So it's really important for them to also stay in touch with the community that is actually running. So it's not just about profit and companies expanding. It's about introducing new people to running, and it's not just about the athletes that are competing at the marathon, but it's like about the people that are starting running tomorrow, and you always want to be introducing people to the sport.
And what is the potential for sport as a tool for social change?
Yeah, like you can see in that video, it's such a diverse group of people. I think the youngest was maybe 16, the oldest was maybe 23, and people from all across London, different races, different religions. And sport is such a tool that can just bring people together, especially when it's a sport like running or football where there's such a little barrier to entry. You can just go outside and run. You don't really even need running shoes. You just need whatever you're wearing. So it's just something where it's really easy to find a community and friends.
Well, thank you for talking to us, Rashad. It's been super interesting, but I don't really feel like a 5k little treasure hunt and then an extra 5k on top of that is like a swift day out for me, but
literally good on those kids that are doing that and getting
maybe
involved.
one day.
Next up in the hot seat is my co-host Mackenzie. She spent the afternoon finding out about ill mental health, how it's plaguing our tradespeople, and how construction sport operates to tackle this.
I'm Steve Kerzake, the founder of Construction Sport, the charity that is put in place to bring opportunities to construction workers for downtime. I want them to enjoy themselves and reflect on the pressures of the construction sector and how much a bit of downtime can help. Back in 2016 I worked on Crossrail for a number of years and realised at the time that I couldn't play much rugby anymore because work life got in the way of that, shall we say. I then realised I needed sport more than I realised, so I come up with this idea of let's create sport and opportunities for people to enjoy themselves. We put together a big walk of Crossrail. We're the first people to ever walk across the whole of Crossrail from Reading to Shenfield, 100 miles. And then from that it's just evolved into this, what is now a construction-based established rugby team, and we're showing that people have the opportunity for downtime, use sport. It's scientifically proven it helps mental health. So we're doing it all day, every day, as much as we can to show the industry that suicide is in such a serious negative at the moment that we need to introduce sport and exercise into people's lives so people can enjoy themselves. So we are a charity. It took a number of years to get to that position, but what we've realised is the support that we give needs to be professional, supported and kind of backed up really. So we've partnered with a couple of companies now that give life-saving support to people who are in a suicidal position, and a lot of the funding we get now we're putting towards that in partnership with the likes of the Lost City campaign that's out there. That is helping us get people the right support at right times. We had a phone call literally before kick-off today of a construction worker whose 12-year-old son needs help urgently, so we put that in place. 2 weeks ago one of our teammates here lost a friend in the scaffold industry to suicide, and we need to show these guys by providing the sport and opportunity. This is our therapy. Men don't talk, we get that, but men do like to come out and enjoy themselves. So we're an industry charity that wants to show that we can fund these good days out, this support, and we've got the evidence now and the feedback from these people that we're helping people realise they're not on their own. This isn't a London-based issue, this isn't a UK, this is a worldwide problem. No one else in the world is using sport in the way that we are within the sector. Everyone's here today networking, engaging with each other, and ultimately saying that you're not on your own with this stuff. Like, we're all in the same boat here. We all struggle, we're all blokes, we don't talk, and that's why the suicide statistics are so high. But you come to these places and you notice, oh, actually, I'm thinking the same as you were thinking. And what guys and girls in the sector need is to realise that we don't function normally. We're construction workers, that's what most people are, but we need help and support, and people can come to us and we'll pay for that. We don't have any big processes where people have to apply for that support. Just let us know, we'll do our work and we'll get the right support for the right people and save as many lives as we possibly can.
My name's Paddy, I'm from New Zealand. I've recently come over to play rugby for Southend Rugby Club over in Southend. It was awesome to be a part of the match today, for an awesome cause. A good friend of ours, Stu Watling, was getting in touch with some boys that part of the construction and know the industry and know that there's some struggles going on around mental health at the moment, and he reached out and just asked if I wanted to be a part of it, and then with having some friends and some close people that have gone through that sort of stuff, I was delighted to be part of it. I would say sometimes the blue collar boys are looked at as not as important as say some higher ups in the world, so I think just a level playing field, everyone plays their part in the world and contributes to our society.
So we set up a podcast just at the end of 2024 to pretty much get our message out. And what we realise now in 2025 is the way people get the message to as many people as they can is to go online, go digital and put the media out there. So the message we get just shows that we can't not do it. We've saved a number of lives, we've helped a number of people, and we've given people clarified to them that they're not on their own with their faults. And it's just people talking normally, guys and girls across the industry opening up and talking, just general chit chat, but those little messages go into people's ears and people go, oh, I thought that, I suffer with that, and that guy's done it, and I didn't expect that, but yeah, it's helping. It's been amazing the last year, especially with the podcast and the media team working with us. It's been an absolute game changer. We're being heard in places we didn't think we'd be heard, didn't realise these problems were going on in those places, and they're the deep dark places that need help and support, so we've just got to carry on banging the drum, pushing it. The industry's kind of listening to us now, the Leadership Council's engaging with us, and we've just got to go, look, there's a lot of people out there that need the support and the figures are only rising, so something needs to change, and we're hopefully a big part of what that change is. We need the help, support. We can prove it. If you got this across the whole sector, the industry would be in a better place. I truly believe that. I'd love to mirror and be able to show, say the military, as I always say it, but the way they've got it set up in terms of all the companies, and it is a different industry, I get that, it's funded differently, it's not by private entities, but when you look at how they deliver sport to their market of people, their workers, and to the next generation, it's a win-win. The template's there already. Let's get involved with those guys. Let's engage with them and show that we can help people. The word I'd say being part of the construction community is brilliant.
A sense of unity, sense of togetherness.
Camaraderie. Entertaining, I suppose.
Family. It's for the love of it, We didn't go out there to win, although that's a bonus. We went out there to enjoy ourselves and express ourselves on the field. So
Mackenzie, there's such a lovely charity that it's so amazing that your interview set that up for you. So tell me, how did you learn about construction sport and where did you find them?
Yeah, so I learned about construction sport pretty much through LinkedIn, I'd say. So a few months back I did a different video for the article for the Londoners about the mental health crisis in construction, and obviously when I was doing that I was searching for interviews and just seeing sort of what resources are out and about for tradespeople, and I came across On The Tools, who have a project sort of thing called Project 7000, and it just highlights that some of the statistics in the industry, but On The Tools are partnered with Construction Sport. They're like a brother and sister duo. So yeah, I found them through there, and I had an inkling that, because my family are quite construction based and a lot of the men in my family have struggled with mental health, and I was like, this can't just be like a my family issue. So yeah, it was really interesting, sadly, but it is, to find out what's going on really.
Yeah, and you did mention your family have struggled, so do you know the statistics regarding ill mental health in construction?
Yeah, so as I said, On The Tools have something called Project 7000, which highlights that over the last decade 7,000 tradespeople have taken their own life in the UK. So Project 7000 basically highlights sort of how many schools would have been built by these 7,000 tradespeople. On average, 2 people take their own lives every day, which sometimes doesn't really seem like that big of a number in the grand scheme of things, but And I think especially to our generation, whereas like, I think we find it hard to like imagine things, you know, we need like proof, but as a sort of comparison, that's the one, one doctor takes their own life every 3 weeks. So in comparison to 2 tradespeople every day, you can do the maths. And I think construction workers are just as key, because like, who would have built where we're sitting, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just made me think about things like so differently. It was like, by the statistics, there was probably a tradesperson that wasn't feeling their best when they were building this building, and it's just like, it's so crazy. And I also saw a statistic the other day that 90% of men receive their first flowers at their funeral. And I know like flowers doesn't have anything to do with mental health, but you know what I mean? Like, that's just so sad. We should give men flowers. And 51 of 21 to 24-year-olds have been bullied in the workplace, which also just doesn't really add much to it, does it? Like, no one wants that.
So any men that are struggling, if they wanted to get involved, how can they?
So to get involved with construction sport, they've made it really easy. So off camera, Steve and I were just chatting about just how friendly he is. Like, we were just having a friendly conversation, because I'd only messaged him on LinkedIn the day before this video took place, and he was just so snappy and speedy with his replies. And he really just highlighted that as a charity, they want to be accessible to everyone, and they don't want someone to be sort of a bit nervous about reaching out, or maybe, you know, like if you're in a bad place, you find it quite difficult to put yourself out there, so they don't want anyone to feel like if they message or if they email, their voice might not be seen. So yeah, literally like on LinkedIn you can contact them, they have their email addresses, and then when you do so, they just take your phone number and add it to a WhatsApp group. You can tell them like what type of sport you're interested in playing with them, or you can do the walks or the bike rides, whichever. They have like WhatsApp chats for each. And yeah, they'll post a date and you can say whether you want to go. And that's literally it. Like, it's just such an inviting area.
Like, that sounds really easy. So say I wanted to donate, how can you?
So on their website they have just a general like donation page, as charities do, but then also on the tools on their Project 7000 you can donate through them, which makes its way back around. I think they sort of dividend the money up, they share it all out. But on construction sport, just them, the Construction Sport 100 Club is something that is mainly for businesses, just because it's a commitment, it's a money commitment. But I think anyone can do it if obviously you have the money to spare. So it's £100 every month, sort of just like a direct debit thing that happens, but it's £100 every month because they've calculated that it would take £1,200 to fund someone's life-saving therapy. So if you're giving obviously £100 a month for a year, you funded someone's help. So that's a good way that businesses can sign up to just ensure that, you know, they're helping someone, because sometimes it feels a bit like, oh, I've given 20 quid, but I don't really know what that's going to do for someone, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a given, so yeah.
And is that everything that these donations go towards?
Yeah, the company itself is obviously a not-for-profit, like it's a charity. So yeah, they literally, all of their donations go towards life-saving help.
That's great, thank you. Thank you for that, and thank you to everyone else who joined us on the sofa today.
I've learnt so much today and can't wait to visit all these wonderful places. What was your favourite?
I really enjoyed Genesis Cinema, actually. It's something that I really see myself going to. The events really captivated me. What about you?
I think mine was probably the Alpine Run, just because it's quite similar to what I had going on, social change. I think it's a really good way to bring everyone together.
Yes, definitely. If you want, you can head over to the Londoners websites for more stories in your London community.
And don't forget to follow the Londoners News YouTube channel. You can find our fellow journalists Amy and Malia taking you through some more London community stories.
Thank you for watching and see you next time.